All right, man. It's Sunday, 7 o'clock. Doug from Salt Lake. I'm entering some more evidence. So one of the things, I know I've only got a couple subscribers. Most of what I'm doing is to just make sure that I bring up everything I can when I go to court. Because if they, for some reason, if the judge is involved or whatever, I have to bring up everything I can think of, and I have to object to everything that I can think of for appeal. If you don't bring it up, and you don't, put the motions and file the memorandums and all that stuff, and you don't bring it up in the initial hearing, you can't use it on appeal. Okay? So we've got something else that I did. I'm going after him for fraud. And I started, and I'll just kind of stop. And what I've done is we're going after prima facie, whatever. Okay? And if you read it, until you challenge it or prove otherwise, they're going to assume and presume that they have jurisdiction. Okay? So then I go into how they do it. I go into several case laws, and then I give them an example of fraud, showing Shapiro versus Thompson, how the motor vehicle code is not for everyday people driving around in their Honda. Of course, there's Wehunt versus Ledbetter. I show that it's an agreement. It's all about the money. Okay? I talk about Blessing versus Freestone, and how it doesn't create rights. And big shout out to Rick. Big shout out to Amin Osiris. I was watching another one of his videos again the other day, and something struck me about the difference between legal and lawful. I'll get to that in a second. This here, we start talking about paternity establishment and some legal definitions, how they have to legally establish paternity before they enforce a child support order. They didn't do it. They're presuming because of the birth certificate. And there's some case law that talks about contracts and how they are basically, they're concealing information. You have to think about it, man. If you knew that by getting married that you were giving over jurisdiction and giving authority to the state to send you to fucking prison, would you have went in and got a marriage license? Probably not. When you go into a divorce proceeding, do you know that they're going to use that divorce to drag you under their jurisdiction and make you an obligor, make you into they're going to label you something else besides a man, glow in the dark, sovereign, whatever else, but you're a man, okay? And they're a corporation, and they can't do business with you unless you are in their jurisdiction and under their authority. So that paperwork that they send you that says, you're a debtor, you owe us a debt, you're non-custodial, you're a payor, all that stuff. It's all garbage, man. But if you don't object to it and you don't write them back and say, hey, no, thank you, I don't consent, then they just assume jurisdiction, and they can't do that. So I went into detail about the fraud, how they turn us into an obligor, a debtor, a creditor, a pay rent, a non-custodial. It's all color of law, and it has no basis in reality. Then I quote some public law, 45 CFR 303, okay? Purposely concealing the legal consequences. If you don't tell me that, hey, by signing this marriage certificate, we're going to send you to jail, is that okay? That's fraud. and this whole thing is about fraud. So we did some more, and this is the reasons. This is, again, this is some of the stuff Amon Osiris talked about, okay? Proving fraud and duress, threatened to have me prosecuted, threatening to seize my newborn if I don't sign the birth certificate, threatening to criminally prosecute me, threatening to have injured party imprisoned. You're the injured party. If you don't voluntarily submit to DNA testing, blah, blah, blah. There's a couple more. So anyway, this is 30 days. October 10th, I'm going to court. So I'm spending all my time looking up things and printing stuff off. And then, of course, I'm using their own rules. This is how I ended it. I'm asking the court to just extract this rogue agency from my life and vacate this order for child support and require ORS to terminate their enforcement procedures. Douglas Mooney has given the court multiple motions, hundreds of case laws, all supporting the facts. ORS is guilty. State of Utah is guilty. I have given this court multiple options to vacate. So what I'm trying to do with all this paperwork that I'm entering into the court is I'm trying to give the judge an opportunity, as many multiple opportunities to vacate and save face. Okay. And again, just for documentation purposes, there's one for the court. Okay. There's one for Ben Stoneman, the AAG that's protecting this government. And this is my certificate of service. There's 2 copies of them, of course. And, I don't know if you guys know about the censorship going on, but there is so much corruption going on in the government right now. If you don't put in all the motions you can, then you can't use it on appeal. If you don't bring up every single thing, quorum non judice, void judgments outside their jurisdiction, you don't challenge their jurisdiction, you don't talk about fraud, you don't talk about them being a corporation, the debtor and how they have labeled you something you're not, your status. I'm going to bring up everything. I don't know if it's going to work, but the first thing I'm going to write or read into the record when I get there is I'm going to read my affidavit of status that says I'm a man. I'm not this person. I'm not this United States citizen that's under your rule. And then I'm going to make sure I'm going to ask the court if I'm in the right venue. I'm going to ask him if this is common law and this is a court of record. And if he says no, then I'm going to say, well, objection, I'm in the wrong venue. So I'm going to make sure I'm in the right venue. And then I'm going to give him all the notices about void judgments and everything else. And these people are completely, here's the other thing too, you guys. If you look up, fathersunite.org, you look up Rick W. There's so much stuff out there. As a matter of fact, I just got something yesterday. Minnesota has already decided now, United States Supreme Court of Minnesota, child support is unconstitutional. Okay. So I hope you guys aren't sitting on the couch just tweaking on Facebook. If you want your life back, dude, you got to do something about it. So you guys have a good day.